You don't lack ambition. You lack structure. That's the tension. You set goals. You make plans in your head. You feel clear on Sunday night. And by Thursday afternoon, you're operating on reaction instead of direction. Picture this. It's the 12th of the month. You told yourself this would be different. You would train consistently. You would control your spending. You would focus deeply at work. Yet halfway through the month, your gym visits are inconsistent, your calendar is crowded with low-value tasks, and your savings goal is untouched. Not because you're incapable. Because you never converted intention into a defined 30-day structure. Success rarely collapses from lack of desire. It collapses from undefined execution windows. In the next few minutes, you're going to see a 30-day plan built around identity, not hype. Not a productivity sprint. Not a motivational challenge. A controlled cycle. You'll understand why most monthly plans fail before day 10. You'll see the psychological traps that sabotage consistency. And you'll walk away with a framework that resets direction every 30 days without emotional drama. This isn't about transformation through intensity. It's about transformation through design. If you handle the next 30 days correctly, your trajectory changes, not because you worked harder, but because you worked deliberately. A 30-day success plan only works if you understand what usually breaks it. There are 4 predictable failure points. First, overexpansion. Most people try to upgrade every area at once: fitness, income, relationships, learning, sleep. The ambition feels productive, but it fractures focus. Cognitive overload leads to quiet abandonment. Second, delayed gratification distortion. This is where effort feels disconnected from reward. You work hard for 10 days, see minimal visible progress, and motivation dips. The brain prefers short feedback loops. 30 days require patience beyond emotional comfort. Third, identity inconsistency. You attempt new behaviors without redefining who you are for the month. You try to wake up early instead of becoming someone who protects mornings. That subtle difference determines sustainability. Fourth, unmeasured drift. Without visible tracking, small daily deviations compound unnoticed. You skip one workout. You overspend slightly. You procrastinate one afternoon. None of it feels catastrophic. But by day 20, the structure has dissolved. Here's the shift. A 30-day plan is not about intensity. It is about narrowing variables and tightening feedback. For example, instead of declaring "this month I'll improve my health," you define one non-negotiable metric: 4 workouts per week, tracked visibly. Not perfect eating. Not extreme dieting. One measurable commitment. Clarity reduces negotiation. In the next section, we'll construct a 30-day plan around 4 pillars: focus selection, constraint design, daily scoring, and weekly recalibration. Each one protects your identity from emotional drift. This is not a challenge. It is a system. Let's build this carefully. A 30-day plan only transforms you if it reshapes how you operate daily. Not how you feel, how you execute. We'll break this into 4 pillars. Each one closes a specific weakness that normally destroys momentum. The first mistake is believing transformation requires expansion. It doesn't. It requires compression. For the next 30 days, you choose no more than 3 priority domains. 1 professional. 1 physical or health-based. 1 financial or structural. Not 5. Not 7. 3. Why? Because attention is finite. When you dilute it, standards weaken. Imagine you decide that for the next 30 days your professional focus is deep work execution. Instead of trying to become a better networker, communicator, and strategist simultaneously, you define 1 measurable output: 2 uninterrupted 60-minute deep work blocks every weekday. That's it. In health, maybe it's strength training 3 times weekly. Not a full body transformation. Not a new diet philosophy. Just consistent strength sessions. Financially, perhaps it's eliminating discretionary weekday spending. Simple rule: no impulse purchases Monday through Friday. Notice the theme: specific, measurable, contained. When everything is important, nothing is. A grounded observation. A manager once attempted to overhaul his entire lifestyle in 1 month: new diet, new wake time, new business initiative, daily reading goals. By day 11, he was overwhelmed. Not lazy, overloaded. The next month, he chose only 2 upgrades: 90 minutes of protected morning work and tracking every expense. That month changed his trajectory more than the previous 3 combined. Compression builds competence. Jim Rohn said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines." Simple, not scattered. Transition. Once focus is selected, you design constraints. Most people rely on enthusiasm to carry them through 30 days. Enthusiasm fades. Constraints stabilize. Constraint means you remove options that compete with your chosen priorities. If your 30-day professional focus is deep work, you may impose a rule: no meetings before 11 a.m. or notifications disabled during focus blocks, or phone in another room. In health, constraint might mean scheduling workouts in your calendar as fixed appointments, not flexible intentions. If it's not scheduled, it will be negotiated. In finances, constraint could mean transferring a fixed savings amount on the first of the month, automated, not emotional. Constraint feels restrictive in the short term. But freedom without structure produces drift. Consider social boundaries. You decide that for 30 days, you will decline last-minute invitations that interfere with planned commitments. Not because you're antisocial, because you are prioritizing direction. The first time you say no, it feels uncomfortable. The second time, clearer. By the 3rd week, your calendar reflects intention rather than impulse. This is how identity shifts. Not through declarations, through repeated environmental design. Transition. Now we deal with the most critical piece: visibility. What gets measured becomes conscious. What remains abstract becomes optional. For the next 30 days, you need a visible scoreboard. Not in your head. On paper, a whiteboard, or a simple tracker. If your commitment is 4 workouts weekly, you mark each completed session. If your commitment is 2 deep work blocks daily, you score them. If it's no weekday impulse spending, you log each compliant day. This is not about obsession. It's about eliminating narrative distortion. Without scoring, the mind exaggerates effort and minimizes inconsistency. You'll tell yourself you mostly stuck to it, even if execution was fragmented. With scoring, reality is undeniable. An anecdote. A colleague once believed he was pretty consistent with writing. When he began marking each day he wrote at least 500 words, he discovered his average was 3 days per week, not 5 as he assumed. The visibility changed him. Not because it shamed him, because it clarified him. During a 30-day cycle, your goal is not perfection. It is trend stability. If you miss 1 day, the rule becomes immediate correction, not emotional spiraling. 1 missed workout does not define the month. 2 uncorrected weeks do. Scoring creates accountability without drama. Transition. Now the final pillar, recalibration. A 30-day plan without weekly review becomes rigid. Every 7 days, you pause and evaluate 3 questions. What worked? What created friction? What requires adjustment, not abandonment? Suppose your deep work sessions are frequently interrupted because colleagues schedule over them. The answer is not quitting the plan. It may be communicating boundaries more clearly or adjusting time blocks earlier. If weekday spending control feels unrealistic because of necessary client lunches, refine the rule. Maybe discretionary spending only applies after 6 p.m. This is where maturity separates from impulse. You don't abandon a structure because it's imperfect. You refine it. Over 30 days, this cycle of execute, measure, adjust builds something more powerful than productivity. It builds self-trust. You begin to see yourself as someone who designs, tests, and improves, rather than someone who reacts emotionally to difficulty. And that identity shift is the true transformation. Not the weight lost. Not the dollars saved. Not even the output produced. It is the internal certainty that you can commit for 30 days and follow through deliberately. At the end of 30 days, you don't celebrate wildly. You assess. Then you choose the next cycle. This is how a year changes. 12 deliberate months. Each one structured. Each one refined. 30 days is long enough to create movement. Short enough to sustain intensity. But only if you treat it as a system, not a motivational event. A 30-day plan is not powerful because of the number. It is powerful because of the boundary. When you give yourself a defined window, you remove endless negotiation. You are no longer asking, should I change my life? You are asking, can I execute this structure for 30 days? That question is manageable. Discipline becomes identity when commitments are time-bound and visible. You are not a person chasing inspiration. You are a person running cycles. Each 30-day cycle compounds. Not only in results, but in self-perception. When you complete one focused month, you prove something specific. I can define priorities, operate within constraints, measure my behavior, and refine without quitting. That proof becomes internal capital. And capital compounds. Financial capital grows when invested consistently. Psychological capital grows when promises are kept repeatedly. If you run 12 structured cycles in a year, you don't need dramatic breakthroughs. The accumulation of small, directed improvements shifts your baseline permanently. Responsibility here is quiet. It is waking up on day 17 when excitement is gone and executing anyway. It is reviewing week 3 honestly instead of pretending the plan is flawless. It is adjusting without abandoning. Self-respect is not loud confidence. It is the private knowledge that your word to yourself carries weight. When discipline is tied to identity, you no longer rely on mood to decide action. You operate from structure. Mood becomes secondary. A 30-day success plan is not about forcing intensity for a month. It is about rehearsing who you are becoming. And if you repeat that rehearsal long enough, it stops being rehearsal. It becomes standard. 30 days will pass whether you design them or not. The difference is direction. If you drift, the month dissolves into reaction. If you structure it, the month leaves evidence, visible proof of who you are when you decide. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a contained one. You don't need extreme change. You need repeated execution. At the end of the cycle, you won't feel dramatic transformation overnight. You will feel something quieter. Stability. Clarity. Momentum that doesn't depend on excitement. And when you stack one structured month on top of another, you stop chasing success as an event. You begin living it as a pattern. 30 deliberate days won't just change your schedule. They will change your standard. And once your standard rises, returning to chaos feels unnatural.